in northern Egypt, not too far from the Israeli border, where Egypt just dropped a bombshell. Is this a huge middle finger to the United States and Israel? I'll get to that in a minute. Of course, just north of this location is the Israeli border, and now all-out war against Hamas, all-out war against the Gaza Strip. And if you didn't think a world war was possible before with the NATO war in Ukraine, well, get ready. A few hours ago, the Israeli Defense Ministry just announced an invasion and destruction of Gaza. And I'm quoting him now: "There will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly." Many people on social media saying, well, that would be a war crime. Of course, the term war crime is being used a lot in the past few days. We do have reports now showing Hamas using U.S. weapons meant for Ukraine. Imagine how that happens. We send billions of dollars in money and weapons to Ukraine, only for Ukraine to sell them on the black market to Hamas.
I'm also continuing to push to stop funding the war in Ukraine and push those countries to peace. And now with what's happening in Israel, we're looking at a whole different situation. I want to track the serial numbers of the weapons that Hamas is using against Israel, and I want to know if they came from Afghanistan or if they came from weapons that we provided to Ukraine.
So we're following that part of the story. We'll have a larger report on that later this week. Meanwhile, how many innocent people are about to be destroyed, caught in between this mess? The answer is a lot. The next few hours will be pivotal for people living in Gaza. The country of Lebanon just fired a dozen rockets at Israeli targets, warning Israel, stay out of Gaza. If Israel invades Gaza, that will bring a response from Hezbollah. All bets are off. World war. Nearby the violence, of course, is their neighbor to the south, Egypt, where I am right now. Egypt, of course, shares a border with both Gaza and Israel. They're in that incredibly unique position. And over the past few hours, Egypt sent a stunning message to President Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu saying, no, we will not get involved. The president of Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, has turned down a request by the United States to send forces into Gaza to help attack any targets in Gaza. Biden just announced emergency weapons to Israel, and of course is looking for anyone else that's willing to jump in and help attack Gaza. You know, who else wants to jump in? Is there a coalition of the willing?
Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense.
Instead, Egypt is staying neutral, will not send forces into Gaza. Remember, of course, Egypt fought a bloody war against Israel, and more recently, they've dealt with attacks from Hamas here in northern Egypt. So Egypt says it will remain neutral. Unless we are attacked, we will not enter this conflict. This is a big moment. And in recent years, of course, Egypt has been the mediator of these conflicts, the sort of the go-between between Israel and Hamas. And Egypt is calling on both sides right now to end this violence immediately. That's the message just about an hour ago from the Egyptian government. This is a bold move by Egypt. You're giving basically the middle finger to the United States, which is a country that has kept Egypt under its thumb for many years. We do know that Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, just spoke with his counterparts here in Egypt. I can only imagine what it must be like to be a fly on that wall, listening for the United States asking Egypt, you know, look, you're the neighbor right there to the south, right near the Gaza Strip. Sure you don't want to send any troops? Sure you don't want to send anything? Egypt saying, no, we're not going to do that. I mean, the U.S. currently has export controls against Egypt. Not sanctions, but export controls.